Joining us live. Great to talk to you again, Fleur. Give us a sense first up on the morning, second day of the ceasefire. Presumably no alerts, no warnings. Tell us about the sense with people there, whether it's optimistic or you're very, very tense and cautious.
Well, it's the first night that we've been able to sleep through the night. So let's start with that, because there were alarms through the night. We've had rocket barrages through the night of the last week and a half. So I think everybody got a good night's sleep last night. So let's start with that. There is a cautious optimism that is going to stick. It didn't look very good yesterday when they actually sent a missile that killed 4 people, including 2 young people, a young couple of 18 years old. It's just tragic that on the moment, the day that the ceasefire was meant to start, they managed to kill 4 more people. And we're devastated by that. And today we're devastated by some news coming from Gaza that 7 soldiers from the engineering corps also died in Gaza. So it's a mixed day emotionally, because we really mourn our losses here very deeply. We feel like one family. This is a very small country. We all know people who know people who've lost people, and it's exhausting and it's heartbreaking that we're still in the middle of this war, which is essentially a jihadi war. And I think what people haven't realized is the connection between the Islamic Republic of Iran and Hamas, and of course Hezbollah. This is all part of one big plan. And so whilst we finish the war directly with the Islamic Republic of Iran and hopefully degraded their nuclear ambitions quite significantly, we still have one of their proxies that are killing our soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very important point to make. The linkages there, and hopefully defeating Iran on Iranian territory will help cut off at least communication supplies to Hamas in Gaza. But I want to go. I don't want to overlook those tragedies that you just talked about. Those latest civilian casualties in Israel were the last missiles fired before the ceasefire. But there was the missile fired into northern Israel after the ceasefire. Those missiles were shot down. Nobody, thankfully, was killed or injured. But it did precipitate the defence minister announcing that Israel was going to strike Iran, and fighter jets were sent. Did Donald Trump save Israel from itself when he intervened and called your Prime Minister and says, don't do this, preserve the ceasefire, this retaliation will jeopardise it all?
Well, I wasn't privy to those conversations, but ultimately it's a shame that he didn't say the same thing to Iran before 4 dead people, innocent people were dead, because they did fire a deadly missile to Beersheba in the south of the country after the supposed ceasefire at 7 a.m. had started. So, if that happened, then perhaps he helped everything de-escalate. You have to understand, with these fanatical, jihadi, apocalyptic genociders there in the Islamic Republic of Iran, they want to present this as a victory. They have their entire population cut from the internet, so they don't know what's really going on. And now they're presenting this as a huge victory. And that's how they keep the reins of power, by creating this facade.
It is bizarre, and hopefully as communications channels open up, their people will come to understand that if they don't understand it now. Just before I let you go, I want to know what's happening with the Israeli government today. I understand that senior levels are meeting, perhaps the war cabinet itself. What's the next step for Israel?
Well, first of all, if this ceasefire is to hold, we have to have an agreement. It doesn't have to be directly with Iran because they're an enemy state, but there has to be some type of brokered agreement by which we take the enrichment of weapons-grade uranium off the table. Otherwise, what did we do in the last week and a half? That was our purpose. That was our mission. We managed to degrade them. We don't understand still the full extent of how much we degraded their capacity. The Americans said we destroyed Fordo completely, and reports are coming from different places and intelligence reports that, in fact, they did it some damage and they pushed back the enrichment of uranium by 3 to 6 months and not more than that. So we need to basically, first of all, understand where they are and what we did manage to do. And then if there's to be an agreement, it has to be brokered and the Iranians have to give up on this ambition of having weapons-grade uranium. And I'm hoping that President Trump brings in other regional partners like Saudi Arabia, who know exactly who the Islamic Republic is and whose interest it is also to make sure that there's no nuclear weapons coming from Iran.
The whole world needs to make sure that that commitment is given and is verified. I couldn't agree more. Thanks so much for joining us, Fleur. Really appreciate your time again.